Well, hey, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This is Arlissa. I am educator to trader, and I am back to share with you my weekly recap. So if you followed me a little bit here recently, you see that in August, I suffered a lost month. I had a red month in August, but I wanted to come back now that we've been into September for a couple weeks and share with you that we've been profitable the last 2 weeks of September. Woo woo, over $1,100 in profits. But I wanted to share with you the exact trades, not all of them that I took this week, but key trades, profitable ones that didn't go so well, just to give you a highlight of what the week went, how the week went, so that way you can see how we made it through the week. Not necessarily looking for high gains, but really looking to build that consistency back up. All right, I'm going to break it down. I'm going to show you the different trades, show you what I used, that kind of thing. So I want y'all to hang in here. SPX using XSP, that's what we did, $676 for this week. I know that may not be huge to y'all, but listen, last month after my red month, I had to get back on the horse and get back into some consistency. So I decided to make sure I revisited the things that were working. All right. So for last week, Monday we made $235, Tuesday $70. I'll tell you why. Wednesday $189, Thursday was a lost day, $205, and Friday yesterday was $387 for a total of $676. Last week it was $426. That's how we get to the whole over $1,100. And I know it may not be huge numbers, but this is consistency, discipline, stacking those wins back up. This is something that anyone can do, any size account. Almost all of these trades I took last week were with one contract because I really wanted to get back into the rhythm to make sure that my trading also matches up with my university teaching schedule, which is kind of what's been throwing me off a little bit. But either way, I want to get to the charts and I want to show you exactly what happened. So let's get into it. All right. Let's go through each week to see what we did each day to have our recap of the trades each day. All right. So Monday, this is Monday, September the 8th. You see I have VWAP running. That's what this cloud is my VWAP indicator. On Monday, there was a gap up opening. Price ran up to about 65.07, and then it pulled back. So around 1 o'clock, 12:30, 1 o'clock, I did a call credit spread above this 65.08. I did one actually 65.05, 65.10, and I also did another one at 65.10, 65.15. That's because I felt like price wasn't going to come back up here, especially after it was below VWAP and the sellers had taken control. Later in the day, I also did 64, 90, 95, which it ended up being okay. But it was scary. Alrighty, so on the course of Monday, made a total of $235. Almost every day this week, I only did one contract because, as I told you, from August to September, I was getting back into the rhythm, partnering my credit spreads trades with my teaching schedule, and I can't watch the way I want to. So because I've not been able to watch, I need to get back into a rhythm. And so I'm just doing one contract here, one contract there, so that I make sure that I've got a system that works good for me, again, that fits into my schedule. I have no problem with my strategy. It's just I need to be able to see and to be able to watch at times, and it's never really a good idea to just get in trades and not be able to watch them. But either way, Monday turned out profitable, $235. Now on Tuesday, another gap up open, pull back down to about the 64.93 area. I thought we'd kind of be down here a minute. I was looking at my gamma charts, which we'll talk about gamma in another video because I use my gamma exposure charts to help me to see where do I think price is going to go for the day. Anyway, around 1 o'clock, I felt like it wasn't going to go past 65.10. So I entered around 1 o'clock. I entered 65.10, 65.15. Okay, that's around this time. But price decided to run up and run on through my strikes. And I entered 65.10, 65.15 For $1, I had 2 contracts. This is where I use the PDT hack. I use the PDT hack to protect me from a bigger loss. On Monday, I used the PDT hack when I entered this 65.05 strike, and then price came back down. I used the PDT hack to lock in those profits, which PDT hack is the way you can lock in profits or a loss and not have to use your day trades. All right. I do teach it. I have a resource that you can find in the description that'll tell you exactly how you can use the PDT hack with credit spreads and not have to use your day trades. Okay, so for Tuesday, price did run up into my strike, so I used the PDT hack to lock in a smaller loss of $85. Then I put on subsequent trades. I went to 65.15, which I really felt like it wasn't going to go there, even though it went up and came back, which was a good thing. I also did a 6,500, 65.05 put credit spread to partner. Basically, that was my way of mitigating the loss from earlier in the day. Well, from 1 o'clock. I did those last 2 at 3 o'clock. So I found, though, that the afternoon does seem to work much better. You know what I'm saying? Seem. Sometimes you can get, and you'll see an example here in a minute, where a morning trade entry can be fine, but SPX can be such a whipsaw that if you get in too early and price starts to move in one direction, like here, if you get in too early with a call credit spread and price starts to run, you can get run through, which is kind of what happened to me. And anyway, you use your PDT hack. So Tuesday was a $70 profit day, was Tuesday. Now this is Wednesday the 10th. This is what we did on Wednesday. Wednesday was a gap up, massive gap up, open to go along with PPI. PPI gapped up. I think we had a big earnings from Oracle or somebody, and then it pulled back all day long. Okay, so with that one, now I went in earlier at 9:42, which is never what I do, but I was feeling frisky, I guess, on Wednesday. I went with 65.60. I went with 65.60 call credit spread on Wednesday. I really felt like if we popped up like this, we weren't running any higher. So I did 65.60, 65.65. I collected $1, let this pull back, used my PDT hack, and locked in $95 of that. So I got almost all of that in premiums. I was able to lock it, not to worry about whether price would run back up into the close. Use that. That was how we did that. And later in the day, I did do 65.05, 65.10, which was down here. I did that later in the day in order to get an iron condor, and Wednesday's profits was $189. Then I guess, since it worked on Wednesday, why not try it on Thursday? Well, so Thursday I also went in early after we had a pop-up opening, but then price ran. This was CPI day. I thought CPI was going to pull it back some. It did not. So I did 65.75, 80 call credit spread. I entered that trade pretty early, like around 10, around in this time, and price was past it and went past it. And then I did 65, 85, 90 as I saw price still climbing, and that ended up getting touched, but I closed both of those trades. I locked them both with PDT hacks for a loss. Again, locking in a smaller loss so that you don't suffer max loss. I still locked in a loss there. And then I traded some put credit spreads as price was going up. Now that the buyers are in control on top of VWAP, which they were on top of VWAP the whole time. I should have really just been doing put credit spreads the whole time. Sometimes, though, you can get locked into a thought and a mentality and a process, and somehow you can't break it. Thursday is one of my longer teaching days as well. So I wasn't looking at the charts as much. My brain is focusing on getting my students ready for their test that they had Friday. And because I'm distracted doing two things, I'm not thinking fully through the trade. And I really should have been, because with all this upwards momentum, I really should have only had put credit spreads and not had call credit spreads anyway. But that's how we trade out. Now Thursday ended up being a loss of $205 with the 2 PDT hacks I said, and I put on some put credit spreads to try to mitigate that loss. So That was good because the loss could have been, if I had left them, it could have been $1,000 loss. But I used my PDT hack. Again, that link to how to use that will be in the description. So that way you can also go and check that out for yourself. Fridays, I don't teach on Fridays, so I have the time to watch my charts. Friday was kind of a nothing burger, though. See, the price just kind of sat still. And what happens when price just kind of sits still in a zone like this, the premiums dry up really fast. So you have to get closer and closer. But you with SPX, you can't get too close because you never know when it's going to pop. Like it did. It's kind of staying in between the zone between 65.93 and the low was 65.82, basically a 10 point. And then next thing you know, it runs up to 6,600, which it didn't stay up there, but you didn't know whether it was going to run past it or not. But after it rejected off of here, we did do call credit spreads beyond 6,600 and did some put credit spreads below 65, 80, and 85. I actually did a 65, 80, 85 first, and then as this price ran up, I set my PDT hack to close it, and then when it reversed back down here, then I did a call credit spread. Friday's gains were, I want to say $357. I thought I had wrote it down, but I don't see it right here. Oh, $387. I did write it down. $387 was my Friday gains, which again gave us a total for the week of $676. So now that we've seen last week's, let's talk about what is coming, what could be coming up this week. SPX is at all-time high. It's again had Friday pushed it up into all-time high, which is right at 6,600 is the highest. It went 6,621, 61 and 21 cent. Right, so we've got some support 65.29. We've got some gaps that have been left behind here. It's hard to tell. Once you're up in all-time high and you're in price discovery, the price can do what it wills. It didn't close up here at 6,600. It closed at 65.84. So that lets you know that price did pull back off of the high. And with SPX, I always say we're going to trade what we see. We do see this as maybe the potential of a reversal. And it's a minor potential at this point of a reversal. It still seems like it wants to push a little bit. But again, we got some support at 65.29. We look every day to see what we're going to trade each day. And I don't try to guess what is coming up next. I just go with what do we see each day when we're trading it? What are the catalysts to push it each day? I trade it day to day to day. That is exactly how I trade SPX. Each day, what do we see? What do we trade? Okay, so I went through the recap of the trades I took this past week. I want you to know that if you are on this options trading journey, especially as a seller, and you may have a small to medium size account, you can do exactly what I just did. Didn't I tell you I usually use one contract, at the most two, right? Which is, we're talking about $1,000 of collateral. And if you do a call credit spread and a put credit spread, that's using the same collateral. You're not even putting any more collateral on. The stuff I just went through is very small account friendly. You don't have to have a whole bunch of money to trade what I'm talking about. We do one contract. You can do your PDT hack with that and continue to grow this money consistently, looking at 10 to 15% each day in returns. Of course, that's never for everybody. Okay, that's no promises, but there's strategies that I have that I teach inside the membership that will help you to generate 10 to 15% proceeds off of that $500 or $1,000 of collateral each day, right? You need to know that as a seller, you don't have to have a whole bunch of money to be a seller. You just need to have a strategy, right? I was excited because this week we got profitable. Last week we're profitable. My August, y'all already know, was a little so I wanted to get September back into the rhythm and match my trading with my time at the university, because I still want to be able to trade as well as teach. I don't want to, and just like you want to be able to have your job and be able to trade. I think we can do both. Okay. I'm trying to do both of them, as they say. All right. So now don't get discouraged. If your week didn't go all that great, we've got a plan. Come on over. I'll put the link into the description for my membership, my Option Seller Zone membership, where we trade SPX and XSP every single day. Every Sunday we have a call. I do the training. It's all live. On Fridays we live trade together. There's alerts there, so while you're learning, I do send out alerts along the way, and we got education to go along with that. Okay, I don't just leave you out there on your own like go get it. No, I definitely teach you what you need to know. All right, so I've talked to you about the membership. I've talked to you about the PDT hack resources that are also down in the comments. Hey, be sure to like and subscribe and follow me here on the channel. We'd love to have you. E2T University is opening up on September 22nd, where I teach everything from the charting all the way up to the strategies. Okay, that is available to you at my website, educatortotrader.com. All right, I'll see you all in the market.